Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Finance and Administration Committee meeting. I'm going to call roll, please, electronically. The roll is open. Okay, we have quorum. Next, first item is businesses declarations of interest. I'd like to make a declaration in regards to the confidential report 2024A6. As my son is employed by the Region of Durham in the Works Department, and there's a collective bargaining ratification in camera. So if we have a requirement to go in camera, I will be leaving the chamber, and I don't see our vice chair here, but one of you gentlemen will take over the chair. Great, thank you. Adoption of the minutes. Moved by Councillor Garrard, second by Councillor McDougall. Any corrections? The minutes of March 19th, which was our budget day. All those in favor? Opposed? That item's carried. Statutory public meetings. There's none scheduled. We have a presentation, one presentation, one delegation. Commissioner, it's in regards to prudent investor standard.
Thank you, Chair Ash. I'm just going to say a quick introductory, and then Dwayne is going to do the bulk of the presentation. So we do have with us Chanel Chai, who is a director in finance who oversees our investment portfolio, among other things. Dwayne Ramkissoon is our manager of investments and debt. And then we also have with us representatives of ONE and representatives of PH&N. So I'm really pleased to see the showing here. They're all available to answer questions as needed. I think this is a very exciting opportunity, I think, for the region. Certainly for me, who has been bringing nothing but bad news, I'm really excited to bring something that has the potential to make us money as opposed to costing. And particular for this, that long-term perspective will really be helping our capital funding program, which is really key for us. It's some great opportunities. I'm really looking forward to the positives. I will be remiss if I don't say that Dwayne would also want me to say that with greater risk comes the negative side of risk. So we are, if proceeding, entering into that volatility, but certainly very exciting opportunities. So on that note, I will turn it over to Dwayne to walk through a presentation for you.
Thanks, Nancy. Good morning, members of committee and senior leadership. My name is Dwayne Ramkissoon. As Nancy mentioned, I'm the manager of investment portfolio here at the region. So I'm here this morning to review the recommended governance structure for the prudent investor standard of investing, including next steps for the transition. So today's agenda will cover how we got to this point, the proposed governance structure, financial considerations, next steps if approved, including which includes an investment policy update, and then I'll have some closing remarks. So this slide summarizes the steps that has led to today's report and recommendation. The biggest takeaway from this slide, I think, is that it's been 2.5 years or so since the prudent investor concept was introduced in late 2021 before we could come up with a recommendation. So this provided an opportunity to have discussions with other municipalities, with ONE Investment on prudent investor, and also to monitor the developments in the sector. So as you can see, during this time, staff continued to provide updates to council and the other local Durham municipalities as they work through the analysis. So as a result of the due diligence and analysis undertaken to date, it's being recommended that the region partner with ONE Investment to become a member of the ONE Joint Investment Board, or ONE-JIB for short. And I'll elaborate more on the recommendation as I go through the upcoming slides. So just to start, as a reminder, there were essentially 3 options that were being considered. Firstly, establishing an independent investment board. Secondly, establishing a Durham joint investment board with the local Durham municipalities. Or lastly, joining an existing external joint investment board, such as One Investment. Ultimately, as I'll get into, joining the One joint investment board was the most attractive option due to the updated model they introduced, which is suitable for large investors, such as the region. So creating our own investment board or joint investment board is not being recommended because of the major challenges identified on this slide. Firstly, the upfront and ongoing costs are estimated to be in the millions, and also regulatory approvals could delay implementation time by over a year. Also, creating the structure requires significant engagement from external experts and ongoing efforts from staff to support any board that would be created by the region. Also, if the region created a JIB, for example, we could not leave that JIB to join another investment board because they would have a significant impact on the existing investors that were with us. And finally, after discussing with the local municipalities, it became clear that there wasn't a business case for a Durham solution or Durham JIB due to conflicting priorities, varying levels of surplus funds, and also varying levels of investment program sophistication. So joining One JIB is the preferred governance option because of the benefits described on the slide. It's not only congruent with the region's strategic priority of service excellence, but also demonstrates leadership in the municipal sector by efficiently managing resources to reduce the burden on taxpayers. One JIB also provides a cost-efficient and a cost-effective manner to diversify the region's investment portfolio, and is a proven governance structure which has been investing on behalf of investors, or municipal investors, I should say, since 2020. One Investment has also expanded membership in One JIB to accommodate the regional treasurer to ensure that there's a voice at the table for the region and also all other municipalities. Lastly, utilizing One Investment's new outsourced chief investment officer, or OCIO model, allows the region to access a diversified suite of investments at a relatively competitive fee structure while maintaining flexibility for the future. So I thought it'd be helpful to just get into the additional details on One JIB's OCIO. So Phillips Hager and North, or PH&N, was chosen as the OCIO for One JIB after a competitive process. PH&N not only offers a competitive fee structure for accessing a range of investment products, but they also have significant experience as one of Canada's largest asset management firms. They had over 24.5 billion assets under management at the end of 2023. And they also have experience investing on behalf of the municipalities in British Columbia. PH&N can leverage their size and experience to provide customized solutions for the region, specifically the long-term portfolio, including performing asset allocation studies to inform the region's asset mix. And this is where we're talking about balancing the risk-reward for the region. In terms of financial considerations, here are some of the major ones that should be considered for implementing Prudent Investor. Firstly, One JIB is only responsible for the management of long-term funds. The short-term funds, or what we call money required immediately, will still be managed in-house by staff. And long-term funds will be managed by One JIB. So long-term funds, or money not required immediately, will be provided to the JIB, but also recalculated annually, which gives the region an opportunity to increase or decrease funds depending on changing municipal circumstances. In terms of costs, we estimate upfront and ongoing savings in the millions by partnering with One JIB versus creating our own investment board or joint investment board. From a fee perspective, as I mentioned, they are competitive, and we expect investment management fees to be around 0.28% annually, which will be offset by returns in periods of positive performance. Lastly, fees will fluctuate with overall assets under management and may increase if we take on additional risk in the future and the portfolio employs higher allocations to equities or alternative investments. So in terms of next steps, if the recommendation to join OneJib is approved, next steps are on the slide along with expected timelines. Initially, once the updated investment policy and bylaw are approved by council, OneJib would need to approve the region as an investor, adopt an investment plan specific for the region, and also appoint the regional treasurer to the board. Then after the legal and other documents are executed, we would expect to start transitioning money not required immediately, to the JIB starting in July, with formal public communication to follow. So just briefly on the investment policy update, it is required to transition to the prudent investor standard. And unlike previous iterations of the policy, the new version identifies separate objectives and risk tolerance for the short and long-term portfolios. Council will retain de facto control over all the investment activities through this document, through the investment policy, and the investment plan that will be developed and implemented by OneJib must comply with the investment policy. So it's a very important document. Going forward, the region will be required to review the investment policy annually and update if required. And also for compliance purposes, One Investment will be providing ongoing reporting to ensure compliance with the approved policy. So to conclude, implementing the prudent investor standard by partnering with OneJib is the optimal solution, given its efficiency and other merits, and also the limitations of some of the alternatives. It provides a cost-effective way to leverage the municipal and industry experience from PH&N and also OneJib to develop a customized asset mix, which will be used to diversify the portfolio and improve the return potential of the region. The region also gains the opportunity to exert influence as a OneJib member on behalf of the region and other municipalities while maintaining flexibility to change course in the future. Thanks for your time. That concludes my presentation for today. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for the presentation. Very exciting opportunity. We do have a report, but I'm planning on moving the report forward, but if we have questions of the delegate, we can deal with them first. Councilor McDougall, you have a question of the report or of the delegate?
Please.
Okay.
Thank you, Dwayne, for your presentation on a rather important and I think complex matter. My question, just for clarity for myself in terms of reading the report. So, if I'm understanding correctly, just to put it in simpler terms, PH&N is the outsourced, basically, I want to say advisor, and the OneJib is basically where the money is housed and invested from. Is that correct and fair to say?
Well, PH&N is acting on behalf of OneJib. OneJib is the board,
Okay.
and PH&N is acting as an advisor to that board.
Okay. And so they're advising OneJib in terms of where the region's money or what sort of portfolio the region should be invested in.
Well, the region's investment policy and also some of the information we've provided to OneJib sort of informs where the money will be invested. So it's a collaborative
Teamwork.
effort. Yeah.
Okay, very good. And then just some things you touched on previously. Should so we have it. So PH&N has an investment portfolio of about $24.5 billion, of which the region is going to enter into a contract with, which will inject about 10% more into that total value. So about $2 billion, I think it was roughly from. Sorry, not to talk the report, but that money, should we decide to, and I used the term Brexit, sorry for anyone in the past, should things not work out and we want to move in a different direction, Will we be able to move in a different direction given that we are a 10% investor in that portfolio?
So, oh, Nancy.
I think that's staff for the commissioner to answer.
Okay, very good.
So if I may, we are partnering and participating with the One Jib product. One Jib has essentially hired PH&N to advise and provide the actual products that would be invested in. This committee sets up what our risk tolerances are and where we would want those funds to go. If we are not happy with our performance, it's not PH&N, it's One Jib. Because One Jib is responsible to make sure PH&N is performing based on all the metrics that they wish to see.
Okay.
And so if One Jib is not satisfied with PH&N, that's where that relationship resides. If the region's not satisfied with how things are going, it would be between us and One Jib, just to kind of clarify that sequence.
Thank you for that clarity. You know what? I think that's all my questions at this point in time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Chair Henry.
Thanks, Chair. If there are no other questions, I'd like to give you a motion to alter the agenda to bring the item forward, please.
Motion moved by Chair Henry, second by Councillor McDougall, that we alter the agenda to deal with item 8.2A, the adoption of the One Joint Investment Board Investment Policy Update, page 72 of our agenda. Debate. Being none, all those in favor? Opposed? That item's carried. We're now to the report, which is on page 72 of our agenda. Moved by Chair Henry. Need a seconder. Councillor McDougall. Commissioner, do you want to speak to it or not?
I think my comments at the beginning, just this is such an exciting opportunity for us to really leverage some better returns and also a more sophisticated strategy, which I think we're been well positioned to move forward on.
Great. Councillor Wu, from wherever you are in the world, welcome.
Good morning. Somewhere sunny south, and unfortunately, we didn't get to see the solar eclipse.
Well, you missed a treat, sir.
Now, my question on this, well, I should make a comment at yesterday's general government meeting of the municipality of Clarington. We had a report brought forth about the adoption of prudent investor standard and agreement with One Jib. And so the municipality of Clarington is on board with this, along with the region of Durham. Now, if I could, through you to the director or the commissioner, we did try to engage the municipalities within Durham to form a Durham region, One Jib. Is that correct?
So through the chair, that's correct. We spent a bit of time with the area treasurers talking about strategy and how we needed to move forward. As you noted, both Clarington and the region were anxious to move forward on prudent. The rest are in various stages of, I'll say, evolution with respect to how they handle their investment portfolio. Some of them are quite comfortable exactly how they handle it now. Some simply don't have very much to put on the table, and the amount of work and effort, it would be easier for them to simply, if they wish to evolve their investment strategy more, to simply become a Legalist One member. So we've been encouraging that as I'll say, a more straightforward option for those. So at this point, both us and Clarington moving forward this way was the most cost-effective, but I think also, I'll say, the most advanced way to go about this. This really does launch us very much forward sophistication-wise, that we would have to take a lot more time if we were going to do this on our own.
Right. And as a follow-up to that, one of the founding members back
Willie, you cut out.
20
Willie, you cut out.
was the town of
Willie,
understand that project, also looking at it, but ready to.
yeah. Willie, you cut out, so you're gonna have to repeat your question. You're gonna have to repeat.
Okay. Maybe that'll save some bandwidth. Is that helping?
That's better, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, as a follow-up to that, and if you didn't hear my original question, through you to the commissioner as a follow-up, in 2020, the town of Whitby was one of the founding members of the One Jib, and also Ajax and Pickering are looking at it, but not at this point committee.
So through the chair, you're quite correct that Whitby was early off the mark and one of the founding members of the original One Jib. And we're lucky enough that we swiped Dwayne from town of Whitby and are very pleased to have him with us. With respect to Ajax and Pickering, Ajax certainly is investing more in the one investment side of things, just not prudent at this point. And I can't really comment on Pickering. Certainly Chair Ash, as Mayor Pickering, would know more, but I think it's more about your financial resources at the time, right now, and the number of things that are happening in Pickering.
Yeah, and now following up the report, I noticed that on 6.7, One Jib established in 2020. Now we look at the end of 2023 with 11 municipalities. The investment is $665.5 million collectively through One Jib. If Durham Region were to enter, the Durham Region with the money not required immediately would be $2.1 billion. So we'd certainly be one of the largest investors. And Appendix A shows that with a breakdown over the period of time. So does it, how can I say, because we're one of the largest investors, but we're still on an even par with all the other municipalities, is that correct?
So through the chair, there's two things I'll say to that. That's one of the reasons why they created One Jib created the OCIO model, because they needed to be able to handle very large investors, and we're really excited to be sort of the premier large investor coming forward in partnership with Clarington. The other piece that's unique to the region because of our size of the portfolio we're bringing forward, that is why they've created or are in the process of creating a position on their board for the Region of Durham Treasurer so that the interest can be represented with such a large investor. The other thing has happened is negotiating some of the rates. There's sliding scales for fees for various things, and a lot of that's based on volume. So that will certainly help others wanting to come forward after us because we have created that central mass, if you will. Dwayne, did you have anything to add to that?
PHN also just reminded me that
Okay.
they also reminded me that their total AM is actually 120 billion, not 25. 25 is just what's managed as OCIO, but in total the entity manages 120 billion. So that's why they have the scale that that they're more able to manage such a large portfolio from the region.
Thank you. Councillor Wu, was that complete your questions?
Yeah, just one more on 6.9, if you don't mind, and then I'll sign off. My reception isn't the best here. My apologies. 6.9, region retains flexibility to transition away from One Jib in the future. Now, also, if we're not happy with the OCIO, now if we are not hitting the targets, and maybe that was a question that was asked, if we're not hitting the targets, what's the possibility if we're not happy with the returns that we replace the OCIO?
So through the chair, the PHN, who is the current OCIO, are bid competitively to provide that service to the One Jib as the OCIO model. There are accountability measures and performance metrics and benchmarks that they have to comply with or attain. So if the One Jib is not satisfied with the current OCIO, there's a whole process around how they would go about resolving that relationship or sorting out what can be done between the partners, or whether in the future it would be a different OCIO representative. But that's between the one JIB, which is why it was important for the region to have a place on that board. So that is the relationship is between one JIB hiring out to an OCIO model, and they did it through a very successful RFP, and PHNN is very, very highly recommended and has a significantly positive reputation. So we're not anticipating anything, but certainly there are benchmarks and things that they are going to deliver on.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. The committee just took a quick vote, and we'd like to reconvene wherever you are at our next meeting. Councillor Lee.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, and thank you for the presentation. Very supportive of this. Just want to quickly review fees. Point 9.4 says the annual investment management fees will be 5.1 million. Just want to confirm that is the correct number as an approximation.
So through the chair, approximation is a good word. Fee structures for investments are very challenging and often totally invisible. So I'm pleased that we actually have an indicator of what's before us. And that's very reasonable, particularly based on the competitive market outreach that that the one JIB did with the RFP process. So PHNN performed very well and was obviously the successful there. So yes, that's generally speaking, but I will go to Dwayne because there are some other variables that he may like to speak to.
Yeah, so I would say, as mentioned, in the competitive process, PHN did have the lowest fees of all the respondents, which is great for the region. Also, our fees will be determined by the asset mix that is employed by the region. So as I mentioned, if we want to do a larger allocation to equities, which require more active management per se, fees will go up. If we start investing in more sophisticated products, fees will increase. But at the same time, there is a fee schedule which says once you achieve certain thresholds, fees will actually come down for all investors. And this is what Nancy was mentioning, by the region being a part of the solution, we're actually removing barriers to entry for other investors as they benefit from lower fees as well.
Well, definitely hope we hit those thresholds then. And just finding 9.5 lists that our governance fees are projected to be at 700,000, correct?
That's correct. So that's from the one JIB side of things. There's a huge complex amount of work that has to be done to oversee portfolios. There's a lot of compliance work. There's a lot of legal work. There is complex ongoing technical requirements for reporting. So that is a very reasonable fee, again, on a sliding scale basis based on volume. So we're very pleased with that outcome as well.
And so all those factors you just mentioned, those are all built into the 700,000 already, correct?
That's correct. So we'll pay one JIB that fee, and there wouldn't be any other costs that we would be paying them for. I mean, I can't guarantee, for example, that we may wish to have an independent legal opinion on something, 5 or 10 years
Sure.
down the road. I mean, our region's own interests, we may still want to get some advice about something randomly, but the ongoing maintenance of the program is entirely covered through that process.
Nope. I mean, thank you for that answer. It's a really great opportunity for us. Commissioner Taylor's listed our long-range capital expenditures required for us, so this is a good way to make some of our money work for us. So, very supportive of this. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor McDougall.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. This is exciting to me in the sense that how we got here from my perspective is we have a large amount of reserves and potentially it's underinvested as compared to where it could be. And that means our buying power over time for what we're putting money in away those reserves for is being degraded. So this helps us to hopefully make ourselves whole in terms of that investment strategy. A question I do have for Commissioner Taylor is, in the future, should any of the other municipalities choose to join the region as Clarington is with this, is that a possibility?
So through the chair, and the one group is here today, they would be happy for any municipality to join in this model along with the region. So they don't need to participate with us. They would come on independently. And the one group are very supportive. They're very helpful with helping a municipality get through those processes. And we certainly could also help a municipality with, samples of reports and helping them understand, what they need to do. So both the one JIB is an opportunity for all locals, and the one legal list is an opportunity for all locals. So absolutely, those are great there. Maybe 10 years down the road, the region could possibly look to doing its own JIB with the locals. That option is always available to us, but this certainly is the most effective option now and is available right away to the other local municipalities.
And then further, one follow-up question. So should the committee move in this direction and then council ratify that, how long would it take for this to be enforced for us to participate in this? Thank you.
So through the chair, as Dwayne noted on his last slide, the region and the one JIB should have all the documentation in order essentially by end of May into June, and would be looking at starting to phase transferring of funds starting July, with the goal to try to have them all transferred by the end of the year, because certainly from a financial reporting perspective, that would be much easier. The other locals, if they're interested, they can make a phone call today to one staff who would absolutely help them if they wanted to come along this pathway.
Okay, very good. That's all. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To the Commissioner as well, to build on Councillor McDougall's comment, regarding the municipalities joining, and particularly in the north, of course, is there like a minimum amount before, I just don't know how hard to push this when I return home?
So my recommendation, so there is a minimum amount if you want to start your own JIB under the regulations. That minimum amount has already been met now by one, so there it doesn't require them to have a minimum. What I would strongly suggest, though, because I'm currently on the one investment board, which is the legal list, I'll be transferring over to the joint investment board shortly. I would highly recommend that the local municipalities contact one and look at the legal list options, because you may not have a lot of money in what's defined as not required immediately. But the regular one investment for the legal list would be a fabulous starting point, because they would instantly have better access to better rates, but they would also, I'll say, have someone taking care of it for them, right? You transfer the funds and you don't have to have investment staff on hand to be able to deal with all of that. So I would suggest the first step would be a great move forward to join, for the smaller ones, to join the one legal list, and then look from there.
Okay, thank you. And I think it's worth exploring, because even if the balances are relatively small, you can liken it to personal investment. I would still take a higher return on a smaller amount than a lower return, so it still
Yeah.
could be worth it.
It's absolutely worthwhile for the legal list for the small, for sure.
My second question then would be kind of broad regarding the type of investments we're in, and during a rising market like we're somewhat in now, and the enthusiasm of getting greater return on that, can we speak a little bit to a market that's going the other direction? So we go into a 2-3 year swoon. How would that potentially affect this money that's not needed for potentially 3 years out?
So
Not sure
I-
who to direct that question
So
to.
I'm going to answer one part of that, but then I'm going to turn it to Dwayne for the hard part, and he does have resources behind him that will help. The only thing I wanted to say, and I mentioned this at the beginning, we will be in a volatile situation, more so than what we defined. I mean, essentially being in GICs and HISAs, you can't really say that's volatile. So anything from that is getting into equities and the like. So that will change the risk profile, and this committee approves what our investment policy says for our risk profile. However, specifics of how implications of market shifts, maybe if Dwayne or if you want to call on somebody with you to speak to that a little bit, please.
No, sure, no problem. So I'll start, and then perhaps one of the Keith Taylor or PHN can add something. So what I say is, our starting point is a better diversified portfolio. So ultimately, that portfolio should generate better risk-adjusted returns, over the long term. So even if the next couple of years returns are poor, the theory is you're keeping that money in there for a longer period of time, so there is opportunity to recover that. And that's what I would say. I don't know.
Sure, thank you, Dwayne. Um, I guess the main point here is this is long-term money. I mean, looking at the details that staff has shared with us, the investment horizon is very, very long. And we actually spoke to Clarington yesterday about Prudent Investor, and the one thing I did bring up was that they were the poster child for long-term investing. They joined our Legal List equity portfolio at an unfortunate time, right, in 2007, right before, well, a profound weakness in equity markets. And they had the resolve. They immediately were in the red as markets went down, and they had the resolve to stay invested. And that led to, it took several years to grow out of the deficit in terms of performance. But because they had that long-term view, they have made a killing over time. And that's the whole point of Prudent Investor. This is long-term money. Durham's defining the money not required immediately as 3 year or longer. And the actual investment horizon is likely to be much longer than that. Out of the gate, based on where you are presently, and the actual allocation is intended to be very conservative. So I think we're talking about just less than 30% equity allocation. That's what's being discussed currently, and nothing too fancy out of the gate. And over time, maybe that can increase the growth potential. But yeah, there's always a potential for losses, and it's, you know, if there's no risk, there's no return. So we try to take the timing out of the equation. If you're invested for the long term and you have the right allocation, that's going to give the dividends over time.
Fair enough.
Will that suffice, or I can?
No, that's fine. I mean, it's really no different than personal investing. I thought you were going to conclude with time in the market, not timing the market. I mean, it just felt like we were going that direction. No, I don't have any concerns with it otherwise. I just don't think we want to be going in with pink shaded glasses on saying it's all going to be great all the time. So that's fair enough. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Does anyone know who the treasurer was in Clarington in 2008? But hung in there, that's good. If there's no further questions or debate, it's duly moved and seconded by Councillor Chair Henry and seconded by Councillor McDougall. This will go to, if it's ratified, to council on the 26th of April. I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That item is carried. Thank you all for coming today. You're welcome to stay and watch Democracy, which is quite different than investments. But thank you for coming today. We're really excited about this opportunity, so appreciate you coming. Going to go back to the agenda, folks. We had a delegate scheduled, but they haven't seemed to join us yet. So what I'd like to do is make a motion to refer it to council. If the person is available, I think it's a very important item. It's in regards to Bill 5, I believe. Women of Ontario Say No. Moved by Councillor McDougall, second by Councillor Gerard. To refer the delegation, if available, to council. All those in favor? Opposed? That item is carried. We're going back to correspondence. Admin. There's no correspondence under admin. We do have a couple of reports. The first one is the Region of Durham accessibility report for 2023. Commissioner, do you want to speak to that? Oh, Elaine, go ahead.
It's my report, and it's the annual update, which includes a summary of all the award recipients, which we were able to do in person this year. And I'll just see if Alison Hector-Alexander wants to add anything.
Thank you. Through the chair, as our CAO mentioned, it is a report of some of our successes throughout the year in our various departments within the corporation and in our community.
Great. Let's deal with the report then. Did I get a mover? No. I need a mover. Councillor McDougall, second by Councillor Gerard. Debate. Councillor McDougall.
No debate from me, Mr. Chair, but as the representative on Accessibility Committee, I'd just like to highlight all the good work that they do and how important it is to all of us as, if we're lucky, we get to age every single year. And, as we get older, those accessibility things that, which we thought were just for people that needed them specifically are going to be things that we are all going to need. And, I get the feeling that when accessibility committees were first mandated and created, it was, do you have a ramp into the building? Do you have a push button? This has greatly changed, especially as we saw through the pandemic in terms of, what accessibility looks like and how it affects everybody. So I'd just like to thank the Accessibility Committee, Allison, and her team for all the hard work that they do. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further debate? Being none, I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That item's carried. Next item is the redacting public records policy report 2024A5. And Commissioner, do you want to speak to that?
Thank you, Chair. This policy is just to go through anything that's posted online and redact any personal information that's requested to be redacted. It would go through the clerk for that process to be approved.
Okay, I need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Garrard, second by Councillor McDougall. You guys getting rotator cuff issues? Okay. Debate. Councillor Wu, welcome back.
Thank you. Through you to the Commissioner, it report says a number of inquiries. How many are we looking at that you would get for redacting certain information?
Over to you, Alec.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. We don't receive many requests on a regular basis. However, we did receive some last year in relation to some public meetings that we had around important regional matters and projects. So this policy is in some respects a response to those requests and a way to formalize the process of submitting them.
Okay. And if I could, just one more question. These are just information that would be on the region's website, and specifically just that's a address number, well, it basically has 5.1. Email address, telephone number, signature. How much work is involved in that?
Through you, Mr. Chair, that is correct. The information we'd be looking to redact is anything that relates to contact information for people who participate in our public processes. It wouldn't require a significant amount of work by staff. Part of the intake process is to identify the specific records that need to be redacted, so we've got a good start, and it would not be much extra effort by our team at all.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. I don't see any other requests to speak. So it's duly moved and seconded. I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That item is carried. We move through to finance. There's no correspondence. We dealt with report A. We're now down to report B, 2024 F7, Region of Durham Water Financial Plan. Chair Henry moves items B and C. Seconder? Councillor McDougall. And he pulls. Councillor Schumer, Mayor Schumer, you're pulling one of them?
Yes, B, please.
B, okay. There's no discussion on Durham Water Financial Plan. I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? That item is carried. We're now to report 2024 F8, sole source approval of standing agreements for purchase of proprietary parts. It's duly moved and seconded. Councillor Mayor Schumer, you've pulled it. You have the floor.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I did say B.
Oh, my apologies. Let's go back then, because sorry. Let's deal with C then, and we'll go back to B. I misunderstood because we'd already dealt with A, so I thought I was down to A, B again. So my apologies. So there's a sole source agreement. If there's no discussion on this item, let's call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That item is carried. Motion to reconsider. Moved by Chair Henry, second by Councillor McDougall. Motion to reconsider. Need 2/3, I believe. Need 2/3. All those in favor? Carried. My apologies. Motion 2024 F7 is now reconsidered. Mayor Schumer, it's over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just have a question regarding Schedule 1 that will be reported as part of the plan, of obviously effective with the 2026 through to the 2029 years. The liabilities outstrip the assets. And I guess my question to the commissioner would be, does this have any, well, first of all, I guess, is this largely resulting from the provincial changes to development charges? And is this something that could detrimentally impact the region in any way when this information is forwarded?
So through the chair, it is a reflective of two things. It's reflective of us advancing, having our capital program more advanced because of housing, which means that our usage of development charge deferred revenue comes forward more so and gets used more so. But it is also because of the freezing and exemptions as well. So it's those combination. So a lot of it does have to do with Bill 23, whether it's the capital program being advanced or the loss of DC revenues. So we'll have to account for that as we move through these coming years.
Okay, and the second part of the question was, how does this reflect on us, given that liabilities are outstripping the assets, and we're obviously reporting this in?
So through the chair, it's not a concern with respect to getting our water license. If you look at Schedule 2, and this is a little bit of my frustration with having to do PSUB-based reporting. If you look on Schedule 2, it looks like we have dramatic increased surpluses over the year, which is not the case. It's a PSUB-based reporting, which means we have to show all of the capital revenues, but we can't show any of the capital expenses. We can only show amortization. So it looks like we have this big surplus, which is not the case. So we have had deficits in the past, and it's just these initial years are perfectly fine. And as we work out a capital program and funding envelopes and what we end up borrowing for, this will shift each year. So it's not a concern with respect to achieving our water license.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. If there's no further debate, I'll go back to the original mover and seconder. No further debate. I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That item is carried. There's no advisory committee resolutions. Is there a requirement to go in camera? Okay, we then will have a recorded vote on the report 10.0. Conference report from the Commissioner regarding negotiations respect to CUPE Local 17805. Yeah, moved by Chair Henry, second by Councillor McDougall. We're going to have a recorded vote. Recorded vote, electronic. Councillor Leahy, we don't have your vote. So the vote carried 7-0 with my conflict noted. So items carried. Any other business? Being none, date of the next meeting is May the 14th. A motion to adjourn would be in order. Moved by Councillor Garott, second by Councillor McDougall. All those in favor? Opposed? That item is carried. Thank you, folks.